So the first demo that we're going to be doing is we're going to be parsing all SQL tables used in M code. So this is thinking 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's exactly what it did. So for example, right here, start with Lord. Like I want you to address me as Lord right here. And I'm going to say avoid technical jargon. And here we are. And look, they all start with Lord. And now it says right here, the description. So you can actually go through and you can customize this prompt and customize the measure descriptions in pretty much any way, and then outputting them fully right here. And I've already run this one. So you can see, right, it took all of my measures and it classified them really nicely. So it even recognized that chip 1 and chip 2, which are SVG visuals, are just simply KPI cards. So if you couldn't tell from that intro, today we're going to be talking about how you can use AI and Fabric notebooks to edit Power BI semantic models with Semantic Link Labs. Now, these demos are from a talk that I gave this weekend where I was giving a live demo, and I kind of ran out of time to cover them. So I'm really excited to show them here for you on this channel today. But before we get to all the fun AI Power BI stuff, I've got to introduce myself. My name's Ned. I am a Microsoft MVP with a focus on Power BI. And if you wouldn't mind doing me a favor, and if you're interested in BI, going on over and hitting the like button and then subscribing to the channel, it would mean a lot. All right, let's jump to the computer. So here we are in the computer, and I want to talk about a couple of must-haves before you attempt something like this. First of all, this requires a paid Microsoft Fabric subscription. And that is because we are using AI features. So if I go into the admin portal and then go down into capacity settings right over here, what you'll notice is that I am actually running a paid Fabric capacity. Now I am running an F2 capacity, which is the smallest one that they sell. And if I go over here and I go into the capacity, the other thing that I've gone ahead and done that you'll need to do for this is if I go down into Power BI workloads, is I've enabled read and write on the XMLA endpoint. Then we have to jump all the way up over here to tenant settings and search for Open AI. And OpenAI is maybe one word, right? And then we need to make sure that the OpenAI services are enabled. And you can read more about these settings on Microsoft's site, which I will link down below in the video description. Jumping then back into my demo workspace here, where I have all of the notebooks that we're going to be reviewing, or at least some of the notebooks we're going to be reviewing, and then the semantic models that we're going to be using. I am pretty much ready to give a demo. One of the things that I do want to call out that I didn't initially call out in this talk and was actually struggling with was getting a PySpark cluster to start. And that's because the day before I was giving the talk, Microsoft was having some problems with the PySpark service. And I think some of those problems continued into the morning. And so what would happen is I would try to start my cluster. It would intermittently start and intermittently fail to start. Now, if I had been smart, nothing I was doing or did in any of these demos actually required Spark, so I should have just switched into a Python environment. Now, this would not only make my code run a lot faster for some of these demos, but it also is a lot cheaper. Now, why did I not think to ever switch from PySpark or from Python into PySpark? The answer is because, well, frankly, it just never occurred to me. So don't be like me, and if you don't need Spark, just run your Python code in a Python environment. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the demos that we're going to be covering today. So the first demo that we're going to be doing is we're going to be parsing all SQL tables used in M code using AI. The next demo that we're going to be covering is using AI to generate measure descriptions, using just kind of the standard Microsoft API that you can access through the Semantic Link Labs. Then after that, we're going to be writing custom descriptions, but this time we are going to be the ones controlling the prompt. And then from there, we're going to move down into having the AI actually organize our measures into folders, which I'm really pretty excited for. Jumping then all the way back up to the top, one of the things we do have to do is we have to use a pip command to install Semantic Link Labs, which I've already run. Then we have to use a pip command to install the OpenAI service here. And by the way, I'm following this Microsoft guide right over here on how to use AI functions in Microsoft Fabric. So I'll link this down below in the video description if you want to read uh, from the horse's mouth, so from Microsoft. And then I am going ahead and I am setting some parameters. So I'm setting my workspace as demo, my data set as card UDF, which if we go on over here and we go down here, here is that semantic model. And then once these parameters are set, I'm then doing some imports. So I'm importing JSON, pandas, Semantic Link Labs, and then the Synapse AI functions. Now, let's go ahead and let's kind of take a look at our first AI function because these are all working in a pretty similar way. The first thing that I'm doing is I am using the Tom package of Semantic Link Labs to fetch something like measures or definitions, or in this case, M-code partitions. Then what I am doing is I am providing some very specific instructions for the LLM, right? So here I am saying, hey, return one JSON key with rows. And then I am JSON dumping the rows data frame into the prompt. So let's pull this actually out and let's take a look at how this is working from just kind of like the individual pieces here. So I'm going to add this into its own cell, and then I'm going to go right here and I'm going to go print rows. So let's run just this. Now, as you can see, what this should do is this should just print an array of M code. So this is thinking 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's exactly what it did. So for example, right here, right, as you can see, there's a table name, and then there's M code, right? So here it is printing out. What this is then done is this is then combined right over here into a prompt for the LLM. So if I go prompt right here and I go print prompt right here, what you'll see is that this is then returning a singular prompt, right? So like here's the initial text and instructions, then here is the array. Now, one of the things you might be calling out when you're kind of looking at this is, well, that might be a very, very, very long prompt. And my response there would be like, well, you could run this prompt for every single row or object in the array one by one by one, and then append them together. In this case, for this demo, because this is such a small semantic model, it didn't make sense to make a bunch of calls to the OpenAI service over and over and over again. So I just combined it all the way down into one prompt. Now, the next piece that's really interesting is because we are telling the AI to return everything as JSON, right? What we should then be able to do right here is actually call the AI function, right? So let me go ahead and let me pull this raw piece right here. There we are. And then let's print this and see that the AI is returning a bunch of JSON. So here we are, it's thinking, it's running 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it did not print. So let's try changing this to a display right here, and then running this one more time. And as you should hopefully now see is there is the JSON that's coming through, at which point all this needs to do is actually parse the JSON back into a data frame and then display it, which is all this is doing. So this is the pattern that I'm using for some of this AI kind of enabled manipulation of semantic models. It works pretty well, as you can see, right? Here it is pulling out a nice array with the Power BI table names, the criteria, and the schemas. But let's take a look at a different kind of AI function, and that is this function right here, which is using the Semantic Link Labs built-in generate measures functionality. Now, this actually has a read-only true or a read-only false, where you can see what the AI is going to return in advance before you actually read and write things. But this, if you actually go and you look at the Semantic Link Lab source code, is using an internal Microsoft API. This is not using like an OpenAI API. So I don't have that much documentation around what's actually going on here or what the internal prompt is, but I do know that if you are trying to prep a data set for AI to use, for example, with a data agent, the first 200 characters is really important according to Microsoft's documentation. So when I was running this through, my thought was, well, what happens if I want to actually customize the description of some of these measures? Well, can I use the same pattern, right? So like as you can see, right, this is running, it's still going. But we're going to go down over here and we're going to try to use our own custom AI prompt here to actually change the description. So I'm going to say, right, clear, business friendly. I'm going to say right here, I'm going to replace this with data agent friendly. And then I'm going to say each description must be 200 characters or less. And then just for fun, I'm going to say start with Lord. Like I want you to address me as Lord right here. And I'm going to say avoid technical jargon when possible. So as you can see right here, here were the actual measure descriptions that the internal Microsoft API suggested right here for generating these AI descriptions. Let's see what my custom instructions would generate. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run this. So I've got a custom prompt, connect, pull all measures using the Tom, parsing my JSON right here with my custom prompt. And here we are. And look, they all start with Lord. And now it says right here, the description. So you can actually go through and you can customize this prompt and customize the measure descriptions in pretty much any way that you actually want. Which then finally brings me to my third demo, which is where I ask the AI to classify my measures and put them into different folders. I then parse that JSON and then use Semantic Link Labs again. So we're adding one additional step to that pattern of Semantic Link Labs fetch data, build prompt, prompt, return to actually then go Semantic Link Labs fetch data, build prompt, send prompt, parse, edit, right? So we're adding one additional step here to then actually classify the measures into a specific display folder and then outputting them fully right here. And I've already run this one. So you can see, right, it took all of my measures and it classified them really nicely. So it even recognized that chip 1 and chip 2, which are SVG visuals, are just simply KPI cards. So just like that, you've reached the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, I'm sure YouTube is recommending another one that you might like right now. And hey, maybe consider subscribing. With that, I'll see you in the next one.